Welcome back. He may only be 21, but already Pat Clinton is one of Scotland's best-known boxers, twice ABA flyweight champion and a member of the Great Britain team at the Los Angeles Olympics. Then he decided to fight for money rather than glory and has just made his professional debut. Pat's here to relive the action. The fights at Alfreton, his opponent is Gordon Stobie from Darlington, and your commentators are Reg Guttridge and Jim Watt at the ringside.
Well, the professional start then for the Southpaw Scot, Pat Clinton. Twice ABA champion, represented Britain in the Los Angeles Olympics. Well, I'm getting mixed up with the Olympics already. Both in gold trunks, but the Scots, the right-hand forward Southpaw in the gold boots. So Gordon Stobie, really a terrific little box office attraction. I've seen him in some good contests. And a great fight against Terry Allen on World of Sport that came from Darlington, and he had a draw with Freddie Potter there. In fact, incredible really, he's had 5 drawn contests, Gordon Stobie. So it is not an easy start, I would suspect, for young Clinton. He's 21 and has now gone from Scotland to London to get into training under manager Bert McCarthy. He's actually just a bit outside of your town, Jim, isn't he, Glasgow?
Yeah, he's from a place called Croy, just about maybe a dozen miles outside of Glasgow. But as you say, this is not an easy pro debut for him. I've seen Stobie in some tough fights already. He never gives up, he keeps going all the time. This will be a good test, a good introduction to the pro game for Clinton.
But I think if a fighter's won a couple of ABAs and represented his country in the Olympics here, he's got to have a fair test, and I'm glad to see that, whatever the result now. But he's a very classy performer indeed. In fact, I thought he stood out at the last ABA Championships, Jim.
Yeah, he's one of the best boxers Scotland's produced for quite some years now. Very good, nice, smooth moving, thinking all the time, looking for openings. He doesn't take too many silly chances. He's a good little fighter.
I wouldn't want to burden him so early in his career, but could he be another Walter McGowan?
Well, it's a bit early to compare him with Walter. Walter was probably maybe the best fighter Scotland's ever produced. So maybe a little bit early to compare him with Walter.
I don't know about that. I think certain commentators I could mention come into that league as well. Very sharp start. He must have had some good gymnasium workouts now, Clinton. But I tell you, Stobie will keep coming back at him. Hard punches going in there, considering it's supposed to be flyweights. They don't look it at times. 8 stone 3, Clinton. That's a pound heavier than Stobie. Money to be made in the pro game at this weight, you know. Charlie Magri going for the European Championship again soon. Well, he's certainly got a willing opponent in front of him there. He's not going to hide at all, Stobie. Don't worry about that. Good footwork though. That's when he does remind me of McGowan, Jim, when he can skirt out of trouble like that.
Yeah, good timing, very good timing. He's watching what he's doing all the time, he's concentrating on all the time. He was under a little bit of pressure there from Stobie, but he was never harassed. He just kept nice and cool and waited for his own chance to come.
Oh, good shots there. Stobie was caught square on with that. He didn't quite know what was coming there, but they were so fast. Got a good reach too, Clinton. He's looks as though he could be out of distance, and he just sort of about 3 inches with the feet he moves, and when the punches go, they reach the target. I think Kobe's trying to, Stobie, I should say, waiting for him to stand still a bit, Jim. He won't do that.
Yeah, well, he's missed with so many punches, Stobie. He's now trying to pick his spots, take his time, which is maybe the wrong thing to do, because if he drops down a gear, Clinton will start picking him off.
Very accurate shots there coming in from the Scot.
Seconds out, round 5.
Round 5, and it's scheduled for 6, this flyweight contest, and it's really been an entertainer. Superb boxing by the Scot Clinton, and good game stuff by Stobie. I think this is what they put on the fight posters, a genuine crowd pleaser, and that certainly is Stobie's number. So, near Glasgow versus Darlington.
Even
trying
when
to do a bit of roughing up, Jim. Sorry, he wasn't. He was trying to do a bit of roughing up there, Stobie.
Yeah, well, that's really all he can hope to do now. But even when Clinton doesn't manage to sway away from a punch or slip inside it, he gets his hands up very quick too, and blocks punches well too. He's really coming on fine.
Well, I tell you, even in the first professional fight, the flyweights have got to look out for this fella, because he's got a championship mark all over him. On the assumption he can do the flyweight limit at 8 stone 3, he came in. 8 stone 6 is bantam. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I didn't hear if he had trouble doing flyweight as an amateur. I don't know. But there's nothing to suggest he can't do flyweight. He's 21, did you say?
Yes.
21. Well, I don't see him getting much bigger.
He's really trying a great variety of shots now, Clinton. Stobie's still plodding in. He's 3 years older. Well, he's doing that hit and hope stuff that the manager's asking him to do, Stobie, but I would think he's really got to be half a miracle to land a punch like that on a fellow so elusive as Clinton. Oh, well, he got through with one there, Jim. That was something.
Well, actually got through with 2. There was a better right hand landed just before that one. It seemed to shake Clinton just slightly, just as it landed. But it certainly hasn't put him in any trouble, but he better come back with something, I think.
Well, he's only got a round and a few seconds to go.
Don't just look at it. Throw. Where you waiting on?
Oh, good stuff. Very accurate that. So, end of the 5th.
Second out, 6th round.
Final round then. And of course, Pat Clinton well ahead. But having taken a couple of punches there, as Jim Watt emphasised in the 5th, he's just got to watch it a bit in the last. There's always a bit of fire in old Stobie yet. A little bit of Stevenson's rocket from Darlington perhaps still there.
Load it up. You got nothing to lose. Go for it.
I really admire the way Stobie's trying to go in and winging away with punches, Jim. I mean, he's taken his share of stick, but he's always been in there.
He just landed a good right hand too. Yeah, he's just going to start. I think he's going to put everything into his right hand in the last round here and just try and catch Clinton with another one of these good rights. the only chance he has of winning, obviously, is by knockout, and he's going to try for it.
So he's got 2 minutes to do it.
Make him pay for that tax.
Well, that suits Pat Clinton, the pace now in the last round. He's content to watch Stobie just rushing in and bide his time and counter. Well, we were saying from the start, Jim, that it'd be a tremendous performance for Pat Clinton to stop this guy, because he really is an India rubber man, bounces back.
Yeah, no disgrace at all. The fact that he's winning so clearly says everything for Clinton. It's a good performance, it's a good introduction to the pro game, and it'll do him more good than a first round knockout against a lesser opponent.
So half a minute to go. Just got a few abrasions around the face, not surprisingly there, Stobie. And really going on right until the final bell. I tell you, Clinton now knows that the program can be a little tough. These fellas take good punches in this business. Absorb them well. So the formality of the decision then by Frankie Parks, of course. But 4 marks to a game loser, as they say. I was really impressed with his game. But this fellow, Don Davis, former boxer there, lifting him up. And is a lad we're going to see a great deal more of, I'm sure of that.
Pat, you made a big impression there on Reg Guttridge and Jim Watt, but I think you thought you might have done even better in that first fight as a pro.
Yes, well, I was very nervous, considering it was my first fight. So I thought maybe I could have stopped the fella, but there wasn't enough snap in my punches. So I was just trying to go to 6 rounds. After 3 or 4 rounds, I was trying to go to 6 and winning points. Manager felt the same. I could have done better. But listening to Reg and Jim, I was very happy.
Tell me, you were one of the best amateur boxers of recent years in Scotland. I mean, what made you make up your mind that you'd fight for cash instead? Well,
at 21 years of age, I'd done as much as I thought I could at amateur level. Been to Olympics, ABAs. The Commonwealth Games were next year, which is a big thing in my mind that I could have waited for. But at flyweight, I mean, you only go to about 26, 27 years of age. And then I thought I had to get in there, learn a couple of years of professional, and then get in and out.
Because people will tell you there's all the difference in the world between doing something for fun, which is amateur boxing, and doing it for your living, which is professional boxing. What's the biggest difference you've found?
Biggest difference? I think the biggest difference is moving to London and living with fellas like Errol Christie and Andy Stronghan. You see the attitude towards amateur and professional.
I mean, you share a flat with Errol Christie, so some of that presumably all helps. I mean, does that mean that it's very difficult to be a top-class professional fighter in Scotland? Do you have to move to a big city to do it?
I don't think you have to move, no, but there's a lot of things made me move. You know, it was Errol Christie for one, he's such a good fighter, and the manager, he gets me promised me the right results and the right fights.
What are your ambitions in professional boxing? I mean, obviously British title. I mean, do you think all the time, I could be champion of the world one of these days?
Yes, of course, every fighter thinks that, and hopefully one day I will be. But one step at a time, the British title first, Scottish title, British title, European and up.
Well, your first, or your next step rather, is tomorrow night in the Albany Hotel.
Yes.
Tony Rahman's you're fighting there. You know anything about him?
Only know he's a Welshman, and they say the Welshmen are tough.
Well, Scotland v Wales. Pat Clinton, thanks for coming in. I hope it's a Scottish win tomorrow night. Best of luck to you.
Much.
Sally.
Thank you, Ian. Just time for a rundown on today's sports news. Over in Hawaii, the United States golfers have trounced Europe in the final of the Nissan Cup. The Americans won 5 out of the 6 matches in the last round to take the inaugural title and no less than $50,000 each, while Japan beat Australia for 3rd place. Scotland's Sam Torrance went down to Corey Pavin, Gordon Brand Jr. lost to Ray Floyd, and Bernhard Langer was beaten by Lanny Wadkins, with defeats 2 for Ian Woosnam and Howard Clark. Only Sandy Lyle could succeed. He beat Mark O'Meara by 5 shots and took the individual honours with an aggregate of 267. And for that, Lyle collected $50,000 to add to the $30,000 he picked up, along with the rest of the European team. Football. Earlier today in Tel Aviv, Israel beat New Zealand 3-0 in the final World Cup match in the Oceania group. All 3 goals came in the second half, but of course Australia have already won the group and meet Scotland for a place in the finals in Mexico. Basketball. And this afternoon saw a pretty dramatic league match at Coasters in Falkirk, where the home team lost by 106 points to 79 to Murray International Metals. Falkirk's coach, Stuart Wilson, was ordered from the arena for persistent abuse of the referee, and to make matters worse, Falkirk lost the services in the second half of their 2 Americans, Waldron and Magram, who had to leave the court after both had committed 5 fouls. And in another First Division match, Buster Browns beat Paisley by 70 points to 66, and these two meet again in a fortnight in the quarter-finals of the Scottish Cup. And finally, women's hockey. In Holland, the British squad were beaten 6-0 by the Netherlands in a test match as a build-up for a place in the Olympics. That's all from me. Back to Ian.
Thank you very much, Sally. I tell you, if I come back again, I hope I come back as a professional golfer. Look at Sandy Lyle out there, $80,000 for his work and playing in Hawaii. I tell you what, it sure beats being Ian Anderson stuck up on that commentary position there in Edinburgh yesterday. And coming in this afternoon, I noticed snow on the Campsie Hills. The seasons really are changing. We'll all have to move inside and watch Pat Clinton at the Albany and do all the things you do in the winter. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll all be back again next week. Looking forward to that World Cup match, Scotland against Australia. And featuring swimming, as the best swimmers in Britain compete here in Scotland in the biggest event since the last Commonwealth Games. We look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now. Have a very good week. See you later.
Next Sunday, at the same time, Jonathan Miller talks to Professor Jerome Fodor of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. BBC One Sunday afternoon continues in a couple of minutes with EastEnders. Here on 2, Nigel Starmer-Smith introduces this week's Rugby Special.
Welcome as we travel north of the border to Edinburgh for our top match of the day. One very much concerned with title hopes in the First Division of the Schweppes Scottish Leagues. We're at Marside, home of Watsonians, and host today to reigning champions in Scotland, Hawick, who of course have won the title 8 times in all. Watsonians, perhaps a surprise package this season, having won their first 5 games in the league. That's our first match, and as well we'll be going down to South Wales for what is virtually a replay of last year's Schweppes Welsh Challenge Cup final at Stradey Park, Llanelli versus Cardiff. First though, let's join Bill McLaren for all the best of the action, Watsonians versus Hawick.
One of Edinburgh's mansion houses provides the backdrop as Hawick take the field with a side that, strangely enough, has no cap back in it. William Anderson, a Burley recent acquisition, continues in place of the injured Keith Murray. An established half-back pair, Colin Gass, a B internationalist, and two comparative newcomers in the pack in Stuart Hogg and Stan McGuigan. But there are four cap players there, one of them the captain, Colin Deans. And across the road from the ground here, the Watsonian Club Pavilion. Watsonians with an all-international pairing at centre in David Johnson and Ewan Kennedy, providing a wealth of experience to a back division of exciting attack potential with Scott Hastings, a member of Scotland's international squad, as is the B international scrum half Stuart Johnson. But the problem for the captain Magnus Brown and his pack, that includes two very young locks, is how to provide them with enough ammunition to weave their magic. And there Colin Deans, 39 caps and probably more to come this season. Hawick, of course, hoping to recover from their defeat by Kilmarnock a week ago. And the referee, Bobby Clark of the Stewart's Melville FP, a former scrum half in his 7th season of refereeing, but this his 1st season as a Division 1 official. So with the sun trying to get through and the pitch reasonably firm, it's Watsonians kicking off there, and it's Colin Easton who's waiting for it to go over the goal line for the touchdown. It's Colin Easton right away trying to kid on Watsonians that he was going to take a quick one, but Colin Gass gets back to the more orthodox situation, playing to his forwards. And we'll see a good lot of playing to forwards today, especially on the Hawick side, hoping to use extra weight and power and experience to deny those very fast Watsonian backs enough of the ball. Their number 8 is Sean McGaughey, who got his cap against Romania in 1984. Oliver puts in. Pick up by McGuigan. And he was in real trouble, but Gass has it. And there's the first of what I would suppose will be quite a few kicks this afternoon by Colin Gass. Ewan Brown, the Watsonian wing over there. So that's Colin Gass, who's played in 5 teams who've been Division 1 champions, 2 Gala and 3 Hawick. Ewan Brown, who scored 37 tries in his spell in the first 15 for Watsonians over about 3 or 4 seasons. And there the Hawick centres, back their 10 metres, and left wing Andy Thompson as well. Clive Miller, that's the acceleration that took him into the national squad, carried on by Magnus Brown. This is Ian Finney, brilliant stuff, onto David Johnston, a good tackle by Greg Oliver. Inside the Hawick 22, Keith Mitchell with the ball now. But that was a magnificent break. All 3 Watsonian breakaway forwards involved. Clive Miller with that spurt of acceleration. The support from the captain, Magnus Brown, then Ian Finney, and finally David Johnson, and they must have gone, what, 40, 50 metres. Now Watsonians with a good ball, and they're inside the Hawick 22. Gordon Forbes is well positioned for a drop at goal. Johnston, Forbes, Kennedy, Forbes on the loop. The pass was wild. The pick-up again by Magnus Brown. Ian Finney has it, out to Clive Miller. And there Clive Miller, who really is making a name for himself this season, just 21 years old, and is going to make his debut for Edinburgh next Saturday against the North Midlands. Referee waiting for advantage. Bobby Clark there saw the offside, and also perhaps playing the man before he had the ball. So Colin Gass, who's a key figure in this Hawick side in all their championship seasons. And there's Graham, who played as a three-quarter for the Scottish schools, the other 2 brothers as full-backs. Gavin, of course, is the Cambridge captain this season. Deans uses Hogarth at the tail. Taken by McGaughey. McGuigan now. So Bobby Clark carrying out the international board's instructions to blow up as soon as a maul goes to ground. Very frustrating at times for players who feel that they can work the ball out, but that's the instruction. Oliver, Gass, Easton. Oh, a super tackle by Ewan Kennedy. Not many people get past Kennedy. That was well worked out by Hogarth. Now it's out McCracken. There's an overlap here. Anderson goes, kicking on for Thompson. But the two Hastings brothers are across first. Perhaps a chance there for Will Anderson to have moved the ball out to his wing and given him a shot at his man. The kick just a little bit too far and well covered. Short, Tomes. Oliver, Gass, the drop goal, it's dead plumb. First blood to Hawick, 3 points to 0. A lovely ball after Tomes had taken it off the line out. Not a great pass, but Gass with enough time to pop it over. Hawick 3-0, 16 minutes gone. So Gordon Forbes gets it going again. Is it 10 metres? Waiting for advantage, and Hawick with a good ball there. Oliver. McCracken goes. Well, at first he wasn't sure, but he found a bit of space, and of course the forwards were with him. And there once again they've tidied up, and Oliver pushes Hawick away back upfield again. Back goes Graham Hastings, and Scott, his brother, asked him to leave it to him, and the older Hastings agreed. But there's the fellow whose lovely spiralling punt has taken Hawick right from their own half up to within about 10 metres of the Watsonian line. Deans with the code, and Tomes with the catch. Ray drives. Again to Gass from Oliver. Anderson. Anderson through. Down goes Hogarth. And it's Watsonians trying to clear it, but charged down. Up goes Campbell. That's Alistair Campbell. There's a Campbell in the Watsonian side as well, of course. Both of them lock forwards. But Hawick holding, and he's trying to move it to the right-hand side. They were thinking of the pushover. Pick up by McGaughey. Oh, very close stuff. And now it's Oliver. Gass, the little shimmy. Switch there again to Anderson. Once more to the forwards. Oliver going. Great Watsonian defence round the fringes. Yes, they've kept all the plugs in so far. But it's hard work, and I suppose the Hawick forwards and Colin Deans, the captain, is reckoning that with all this close driving work that Watsonians may run out of steam later on. Oliver. And I think a penalty either for playing the man early or for falling on him when he'd got the ball. Change this season in that if a player goes down on the ball, the next player up must stay on his feet. If he falls over him, he's penalised. Colin Gass. Got height all right, and it's straight as well. So Colin Gass, not for the first time with his boot, stretches Hawick away a little bit. 6 points to 0, and they've played 21 minutes. And that for Colin Gass is his 134th point of the season. Into the second quarter. And Ewan Kennedy. Colin Easton touches down. So Hawick at least have got some reward for most of the territorial advantage, although the most exciting bit of handling has come from Watsonians. That's a lovely high ball. Ian Finney thumped down there by Hogarth. Hawick, of course, with a tremendous advantage in their engine room here with the two Grand Slam lock forwards, Alistair Campbell and Alan Tomes. Whereas Watsonians have two young fellows, the 18-year-old Colin Campbell and the 20-year-old Christian Hogg. Stuart Johnston, Forbes, the dummy by Ewan Kennedy. Scott Hastings in, over halfway. The feed on to Ewan Kennedy again. Now it's Gordon Forbes. Lovely running by Watsonians. This is the sort of stuff that they've been producing when they get the chance. And Forbes tackled by his opposite number, Colin Gass, into touch. Ewan Kennedy, a key figure there, first with the dummy scissors and then with the feed out that released Forbes. Johnston, Forbes, Kennedy. Hastings took it beautifully. Over the Hawick 22 again. And a penalty this time for going over. There's Sean McGaughey in on the tackle. Again making a return to the Hawick side, having missed last Saturday against Kilmarnock. Gordon Forbes then to cut the deficit. Nice little chip shot. Just looked like a little wedge, didn't it? And that'll be encouraging to Sonians. And 139 points for Gordon Forbes. And it's 6-3 to Hawick. And they've played 25 minutes. So quite a big crowd here, realising the importance of this match to both of those sides. I think both realise that whichever loses today could well be out of championship contention. Or at least would find it very hard indeed to take the title. Forbes again. Oliver. Graham Hastings underneath. Oh, it was an awful ball for him to deal with. He knew he was close to his own line. And he could feel the green jerseys, Graham Hastings here. So, Hawick with a rare chance of a pushover here. Scrummage certainly is heavy enough, but they're going for the pass. Gass again to Anderson, and his job is to take the ball back to the forwards. Watsonians penalised for going over. Anderson taking the ball back to his forwards, giving Colin Gass this chance to stretch Hawick's lead. Gass then just outside, and so that was a good chance missed. Colin Gass, who so often has scored all of Hawick's points. Forbes, Tomes with the palm, Oliver, Hogarth in. McGaughey, a typical McGaughey charge. McGuigan at his elbow. The pick up by Hogarth, and again it's the forwards who take it on. Ray in possession then. And an offside decision against Watsonians as Hawick won that ball from the ruck. Colin Gass. He'll stab that time, and that's his third successful kick out of 4. 2 penalty goals and a drop goal to Colin Gass. And Hawick stretched their lead to 6 points. Ewan Kennedy. Yes, Easton called. And quite sensibly, because Easton has a good left foot, whereas Colin Gass is stronger on the right, although he does quite well with his left. Now Watsonians, not surprisingly, have cut their line out. Ian Finney, the number 8, is an important man here, and there he went for it, very nicely back. Stuart Johnston. Gass, meaning to put a kind of cross-field Gary Owen, and not bad, he's got it to his forwards, that was his idea. Oliver, good run, nicely out there to McGuigan. McGaughey, this is McCracken, it must be a score for Anderson. Lovely tackle there by Scott Hastings. That really was a superb try-saving tackle by the fullback. It was Hawick's best handling of the match. Oliver started it. 2 of the breakaway forwards were in. And then the backs took over, and Anderson, well, he got within a couple of yards, but what a tackle by young Scott Hastings. Hawick 10 metres line, Forbes again. Little dummy now, Kennedy, and Kennedy's a big lad. Well held there by Anderson. Again a penalty for going over the top, preventing fair clearance. And now it's Ewan Kennedy who, I mentioned, has scored 897 points for Watsonians in 236 games. Pretty good. Clacky's given it just under the bar. Easton. Beautifully fed out to Magnus Brown from Graham Hastings. But again, the Hawick forwards, of course, clearly had it drummed into them that they've got to get there in numbers, and they did there. The referee's whistle goes for half-time. Hawick in the lead by 9 points to 3. You get the feeling that if Watsonians could win just a bit more ball, they could be very dangerous indeed, but they've got to neutralise Hawick's forward domination in the second half if they want to pull it out. So it's Hawick seeking an 11th win over Watsonians in 12 National League matches, starting the second half through Colin Gass. Kick going too far, and Watsonians quite happy to take the scrummage. Colin Gass wondering how he got so much poundage into that one. Small striking beautifully there. Forbes from Stuart Johnston. Easton up to his own 10 metres line. Oliver. Gass. Well, the kick on there by Stuart Johnston as Colin Gass couldn't hold that very low pass. Gordon Forbes ready for the quick throw-in. Went short. And that's a penalty for being round on the wrong side. And so Watsonians have made an encouraging start to this second half. Hawick caught offside, the pressure telling. Forbes up on the toes, the little dance to the left, and then plonk. The stand says yes, so do the touch judges, and Gordon Forbes wants his second penalty goal, and Watsonians are very much in the hunt. 9 points to 6, Hawick lead, and they've played 4 minutes of the second half. So some serious faces in the crowd there, maybe belonging to Hawick folk, and great encouragement for Watsonians. Gass again. To Watsonian 22. Dean's the short, fast one, and there's the peel round the front, led by McGuigan. McGaughey there, almost in at the corner. The big number 8 forward, taking a lot of stopping. Stuart Hogg trying to drive in. Now it's Oliver. Drive once again, feed inside by McGaughey. Still the tantalising 2 or 3 metres short. The feed again to McGaughey. The drive on by Jock Ray. The prop forward almost made it, and so did Bobby Clark, the referee. But typical Hawick concerted forward play there, driving one side up the front of the line out, then they took it round the tail and then brought it back, and well, Ray the prop almost dotted it down. 3 points in it, and they've played 8 minutes of the second half. Clean bar, the shout from the touchline, and there a typical Gordon Forbes dropout out to Graham Hastings, and he's off. Beautiful high punt. Easton in trouble. Great follow-up by David Johnson, a kick on by Ewan Kennedy. Clive Miller was up as well, and it seemed to go forward from Clive Miller, but that was typical Watsonian play. The kid on with a little dropout, then the little chip the other way. Graham Hastings busting clear, the high kick catching Colin Easton in all kinds of bother with the nasty bounce. And well, that little knock-on certainly saved Hawick on that occasion. Forbes, Kennedy, missed out everybody to Ewan Brown. Scott Hastings in the line, caught by McGuigan. In goes Keith Mitchell. Oliver well tackled there by Christian Hogg. That's young Hogg, the big blonde laddie. He's the 20-year-old, and there's his pal, the slimmer one, just 18, Colin Campbell. Penalty for offside. Now, yes, not much doubt as to what Colin Deans would ask for there. The kick at goal. Gas, certainly long enough. Oh, it's good. Well, he's kicked an awful lot of very important long-range goals for Hawick, and that certainly is a vital one. 12 points to 6 they lead. Again, Ewan Kennedy with the long one. Gordon Forbes does the placing for it and looks intelligently to the left, and then Ewan Kennedy thumps it away to the right. And there Ronnie Small, who used to play fullback for Watsonians, father of Hooker Neal, playing touch judge for the club today, and perhaps proffering an odd little bit of advice when son throws in front of him. And Magnus Brown, number 6 there, realising that his side are still in with a great chance of producing a surprise result it would be. McGaughey, Oliver, over halfway. Tomes. Ray the prop. So the Hawick plan hasn't changed an awful lot throughout the game. The forwards driving, the inside centre taking it back to the forwards, and Gass's strong boot keeping the ball in front of them where possible. Oliver took his eye off it, and Gass did all that he could do. So there the touch judge, Ronnie Small for Watsonians, and his son Neil throwing in. And Hawick driving through from the lineup with Hogg leading the charge. Stuart Hogg, number 3, the young tight head prop. And the sun has completely disappeared from here, a big bank of cloud over Myerside, and the light fading very rapidly. The referee's whistle goes for the end of the match, a hard bruising slog for both the backs. The Watsonian forwards subjected to really close quarter stuff, and Hawick's fairly tight format, and this man Colin Gass winning the day with his 3 penalty goals and a drop goal. So that Hawick recover from their shock defeat by Kilmarnock last Saturday with this 5th National League win at Myerside and their 11th over Watsonians in 12 National League games. Hawick still with a chance of retaining their title.
So, no fairy tale finale by the frustrated Watsonians backs. So, let's look at the other results of this important round, the last one before the midwinter break. And very much as you'll see, as we were, with Stuart's Melville getting a good away win at Galashiels, Kelso going from strength to strength, and, well, Preston Lodge there, bottom of the table, but getting 2 valuable points, and Boroughmuir retaining their challenge. 1-point victory for Jed Forest, and again, west of Scotland, I think, emphasising the resurgence of rugby strength in the west of the country. Well, Bill McLaren, it's beginning to look increasingly now like a 4-horse race there with Stu Mel, Kelso, Hawick and Boroughmuir at the kill.
Indeed, Nigel, I think it's as close as it's ever been in the Division 1 Championship. I suppose the bookmakers might make Stuart's Melville FP as the favourite because they've been scoring a lot of tries, I think 37 tries in the 7 league games up until today. and they've got by far the best points differential. They've got a good pack of forwards with the Brewsters and the Calders, and of course they've got a very lively back division with Douglas Wiley there, so that they're going to be hard to unsettle. But at one point is they've played matches that would have expected to win. They've got the tough stuff to come now. Kelso are at last going well. They had a slow start because of their large farming community, but they're putting it together now. That was a good result for them today at Goldacre, where they don't often win. And of course it'll interest Welsh and English and Irish people to know that Roger Baird is playing as a very creative centre for Kelso. Perhaps a thought there for the international selectors. And Hawick, as we saw today, depending very much on their forwards and halfbacks, but still very close in.
And building up, of course, then to a great run-in to the end of the championship. And come January, well, some fascinating ties already in store, aren't there?
Yes, indeed. When we start on January the 11th, we have Stewart's Melville FP against Heriots. That's always a very tough game. And Hawick play Kelso, and I'm pleased to say Rugby Special are going to cover both of those matches, so that'll be great. And then Hawick versus Stewart's Melville. Stu Miller, coached by Ian Barnes, the former international lock, who coached Hawick to their 2 championships in the previous 2 seasons. So that should be a tremendous match. In fact, it's an intriguing setup for the run-in.
And no certainty that Hawick are going to make it 3 in a row, is there?
They say down in Hawick that it's certain, but I tell you, it's as they would say also, itchy-peachy at the moment. It could go any way.
Bill, we look forward to the new year. Thanks a lot. In the meantime, lots of excitement this weekend was at Stradey Park, the coming together again of last year's finalists in the Welsh Cup. Llanelli versus Cardiff, and Terry Holmes back in action again. A report on the Scarlets versus Cardiff comes now from Martin Williams.
This was, of course, a repeat of last season's Schweppes Cup final with a few old scores to settle, but Stradey Park is not a happy hunting ground for Cardiff, only 1 win in their last 7 visits. And this tremendous and fiercely contested battle saw Cardiff pile on the pressure, but Llanelli scoring the points. Cardiff's solitary score came from a David Evans penalty. It was just reward since Cardiff had enjoyed all the territorial advantage. And if Terry Holmes had thoughts of Northern Lights on his mind and a £100,000 offer, he didn't show it. His presence is immense, but he appeared to be Cardiff's sole attacking weapon. Llanelli took their opportunities well, and in their second visit into the Cardiff half, scored a try. And David Pickering, always in the forefront, tried to turn the corner from a ruck. He was half-held, but got the ball away for scrum half Jonathan Griffiths. He kicked, Hadley failed to gather in the corner, and Phil Lewis found the ball at his feet for a try. Pearce converted, and at 6-3, that's how the first half ended. Well, again, there was no relaxation in the pace of the game, and though Llanelli had their problems up front, Cardiff couldn't complete their forward drives. In midfield, they had no one with penetrative qualities. Possession wasn't a problem, but penetration was for the Blue and Blacks. Pearce with a penalty made it 9 points to 3. That's a famous score at Llanelli, and that's how it stood for a long time, with Llanelli revelling in the hunt for possession. Their second try came after an initial break seemed to have faltered. Gary Jones, a new recruit from Pontypridd, set up the first ruck. The ball went wide, and back it came again. Phil Davis, as number 8, policing his 3/4, picked up the loose ball to give Peter Morgan, the centre, a comfortable run-in. Pearce missed the conversion. Had he kicked more accurately, the win for Llanelli might have been more emphatic. As it was, we witnessed an exciting and fiercely contested affair, with Llanelli repeating their success at last year's Cup final. And now we wait to see whether Holmes might be tempted north.
Yes, Llanelli defeating Cardiff again, 13 points to 3, rather more emphatic than their win in the Cup final last year. And Cardiff finding it a hard place to win Stradey Park, only 1 win there in the last 8 years. Lots of other important results, of course, none more so than in Ireland, with the second round of the Irish Interprovincial Championship there, and Ulster with their 16th consecutive win. What a record, beating Connacht 16 points to 6. Leinster winning 2, but now Ulster just have to beat Leinster in 2 weeks' time to take that championship again. Pontypool's 21st win, only 1 defeat this season, beating Aberavon. Good win for Bristol. Harlequins strengthened by Ian Milne return and beating Cambridge. Gloucester gathering steam. London Welsh in a draw with Newport. And then in the John Smith England merit table, 4 in a row for Moseley against Leicester. London Scottish emphatic victors over the other university, the Dark Blues, and Swansea beating Richmond there. And a first defeat in the John Smith England merit table B for Waterloo, going down to Roslin Park. Then a day of some important results in the Thorn EMI County Championship matches, with particularly there Lancashire's win over Durham, 25 points to 9, securing them a place once more in the semi-finals, and going down the list to Berkshire, gaining promotion by beating Dorset Wilts 9 points to 6, and at the very tail of the list, Gloucestershire through to yet another semi-final, beating Devon 25 points to 6. So the semi-finals to be played on March the 8th will concern Kent and Warwickshire, Lancashire and Gloucestershire. The draws to be made tomorrow, Monday, for those semi-final positions. Well, over the next few weeks, plenty of exciting matches around the home countries. We'll be up to Scotland to see Scotland schools against Australia. We'll be seeing the revamped Thorniamide Divisional Championship in England underway as well. But next week, we're down to Rodney Parade, an important game in South Wales with Newport versus the reigning Welsh Cup champions Llanelli. For locals, kick-off, by the way, is at 2:30, and I hope you'll be back with us early Sunday afternoon to see the best of that match and the rest of the rugby news on Rugby Special. Till then, bye for now.
Later this afternoon, BBC Two launches a new series of the popular maritime magazine programme Under Sail by chartering a passage aboard the lovely Irene.